Hello and welcome back to episode 16 of One Game at a Time. I'm your host, Seb O'Neill, one of your hosts, joined for the first time in a while by my three guests, starting off with Mark Talbot. Mark, how are you on this evening?
Very well, mate. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Also joined by Alessio Carocci, fresh after a rare win for himself. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. It's not too rare at home, though. I'll tell you that much.
And finally, on to David Grant. David, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Very well, thanks. Starting to come down with Euro fever. But yeah, I'm good.
Absolutely. I see the jumper. Is it a jumper or a jacket?
It's a jumper, sort of.
Is it Freiburg, I think, is the club?
It is well recognised. Yeah, SC Freiburg. Yeah, I didn't think you'd get that. And look, underneath, because I'm really coming down with football fever, I've got my Germany top on. I can't wait.
I have to admit, you've probably got one of the best German accents I've ever heard.
I was going to say, isn't your first fixture? Is not your first fixture against Germany?
Oh yeah, all this stuff gets torn down on that day,
right,
and then it gets put back up later, depending on how things go for us.
With Scotland, okay. So Scotland first, Germany second.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's just I'm looking forward to it. I have a couple of pals have got their tickets through already, so I'm looking forward to it. Coming down with a bit of Euros fever, but let's move on.
Absolutely, we'll start with our picks of the week, and we might as well continue and start with international fever. David, the Matildas here on Friday.
Absolutely, yeah. So they are going to be playing at Adelaide Oval. It's the first time the Matildas will be playing at Adelaide Oval. The Socceroos, the men's team, have obviously done that before, but first time that the women have been there. I've been doing a little bit of digging around to find out a little bit more about the Matildas' history in Adelaide and their relationship with Adelaide. And would any of you like to guess how many times the Matildas have played in Adelaide up until this point?
4.
I'm going to guess 5.
I was going to do 5 as well.
This game, I've just lost my notes. This game will be only their 9th, which surprised me. I thought maybe they would have played more. They didn't play their first game here until 2000 when they played in an Australia Cup. It was an invitational tournament. It was organised across 3 venues, and it was essentially a warm-up for the Sydney Olympics that year. They played Sweden, the Czech Republic, United States in Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide. The team that played in Adelaide featured 2 South Australians. Can you guess who they might have been?
Oh, can one be Christy Moore?
No.
Alagich?
Whoa, Alessio, you got in just before Mark. Yeah, Alagich. And the other one was Sharon Black. And Alagich actually holds the distinction of scoring the first goal for the Matildas in Adelaide. It was an own goal. She put the ball into the back of her own net as the Americans ran out. Winners 3-1. So there you go. Alagich, first scorer of a goal for the Matildas, not for the Matildas, by a Matilda in Adelaide. So yeah, so this is just the 9th game that they've played here. So that's my little pick for the week. And if it wasn't for a tournament in 2006, they would have only played 4 games here. They played about 5 or 6 games. Actually, one other little piece of information for you on that 2006 tournament, just really quickly, is that they played Thailand on the 24th of July in front of a crowd of just 400, which is obviously a lot less than they'll be playing against on Friday. So it shows you how much it's grown.
There was more at the training yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, the times have changed. So I've got another pub quiz question for you just before I finish up. That game wasn't played at Hindmarsh. What ground do you think that was played at? 2006, 24th of July. They beat Thailand 5-0.
Marden?
Amy Park?
Seb, you get it. That Seb's got it. So there you go.
Marden.
That's my pick of the week.
I wasn't here in 2006, so...
For someone who often says that they're not prepared for this, David, that was an awfully prepared segment, I must say.
Yeah, but this is because I've been writing this little piece for Front Page Football, Australia's premier online magazine.
Right. So you're doing the work for them and not for us.
Well, I'm sharing it.
Mark, we'll go on to you for your pick. What do you have for us?
I have this week announced was the FSA's life member inductees for 2024. So a huge shout out, I think, goes to those that have been added: Chad Bujaya, Matthew Cream, Emily Hodgson, Isabel Hodgson, Matthew Marchioro, Alexander Mullins, Scott Nagel, and Ryan Veach. Some great names there. Well, actually, all great names. Chad Bujaya, currently junior technical director at Croydon, just finished up playing at Marbury Vista. Matthew Cream's been a referee in this state for many, many, many years. The Hodgson's sisters, Emily and Isabel, obviously completely deserving.
They're not
Fantastic.
sisters.
Are they not sisters? I thought they were.
They're not related in any
Cousins?
Oh,
No.
really?
way. No
There you
relation at
go.
all.
But both of them certainly deserve to be in this listing. That's without a doubt. And then obviously we move on to some of the men's players who all four of them are still playing. So Matthew at Salisbury, Alex, obviously we know at Campbelltown, Scott Nagel at Metro, and Ryan Veach currently of the Cove. So, but some great names in there, all very deserving to be added into the life member inductees for 2024. So congratulations.
Do you know how many of them you played against, Mark?
Well, the Hodgsons I haven't played against. I've probably played against. I reckon I played against Chad Bouget when he was at FK Beer Grad or back then White City at one stage. Matthew Cream, I've certainly had him as a ref. Matthew Marshall, I don't think I've played against Matthew, or I might have done when he was at Port. Scott Nagel, I reckon too young. Vici, I have definitely, and Alex, I reckon too young for me. Both Alex and Scott, even though they are considered older now, I reckon I was already finished by the time they were still been playing top level, and I finished up and not the top level. So I don't reckon I would have played against them. Might have Scott Nagel maybe, but don't reckon I have.
And how many of them are cousins of yours, Alessio? Just for the
none yet. I'm hoping to get. Yeah, I'm hoping to get my name as the first one. I think I've played against 3 of them, maybe. I haven't played against Alex Mullen or Scott Nagel, but I played against Veach, and I'll play against him again this weekend. Mark Euro, I played him against him when he played for Salisbury last year, I'm pretty sure. And Chad Bugedja, I reckon he might have been at Vista last year still. He might have not been, but he might have not been around the second half of the season by the time I.
No,
I don't know.
He did his knee last year, midway through the season. So he didn't.
I think that was the first game I watched of Mount Barker was him versus us, and he came off the bench and just ran riot. I think they won like 5-0. That was the first game I watched of Mount Barker before I went to them. So, yeah.
And you still went?
Well, that was the week before. I commentated that game with Josh Murray beforehand, and then watched the State League 2 team after. But yeah, they're a good team, and I'm sure we're going to talk about their promotion hopes this year as well further in the show.
Absolutely. I'll go next. We had the Socceroos squad announcement today. The day before that, we had the Young Socceroos. We'll go through that. Quite a few South Aussies involved in that contingent. Stephen Hall, Luki Ivanovic, Bailey O'Neill, Dimitri Valkanis, and Johnny Yule. And then for the senior national team, the Subway Socceroos, we had Joe Gauchi, Paul Izzo, 2 goalkeepers, which is no mean feat. Mark and Nestor Irankunda finally gets his call up. Apostolos Stamatolopoulos and Kusini Enki. So other than 2 goalkeepers, all outfield players. Not bad.
Oh, Adelaide have always produced good goalkeepers. We've shown that over many, many years. So it's great to see 2 in there. And Izzo certainly deserves it on this season's performances. He's been fantastic for victory. So very justified there.
Tanzania and Burundi must be kicking themselves, eh? They had the chance for Irankunda, didn't they? Obviously, but he's once he's played, that's him, isn't it? Once you've played one senior match, you're locked in. So
I did see a thing today. Apparently, it's friendlies. I don't think there's a limit, but it's 3 competitive senior games. So Nesta could still make an appearance in these 2 games and still be eligible to play for Tanzania and Burundi, even if he plays both at any point. So it's very, very interesting. Alessio, finally, on to you. Guess what you're going to talk about.
Get yourself a pillow and a doona.
Just one of the only team in the hills is what they say. But yeah, I mean, it's a big win and started off like it's probably the best first half we've had all season. Unlucky to concede a set piece near the end of it, but almost had about, I think, one cleared off the line as well late in the game. But 3-0 up, cruising in the first 30 minutes or so. And finally, as David said, he thought neither team were going to score in the whole game. But finally, our attack proved worthy. And it seems like every time we lead in the first half, we got just enough to carry on to the second and the end of the game. So it's a good win for us in the Hills Derby. And I'm sure Dave was going to mention a couple of the stray tweets and comments online. But yeah, it's a big thing for the club as well, especially with one of the goal scorers, Jake Browning. He's been at the club all his life, and he scored, I think, the opening goal. And it was letting us know in the change rooms how it was in the first few years at Mount Barker. Even when they played 18s and reserves, they'd get smashed every week by Hills Hawks every time they played him. So finally to get one over them as a senior player himself and to be a scorer is fantastic for him.
David, do you have any rebuttal to that?
Not really. I'm pro football, and I'm pro football in the Hills. I was geographically loyal to the region that I've lived in for the last just over 30 years. So, and I want both teams to do well. I was pleased for Mount Barker. I mean, I've mentioned it before. I was part of a group that started senior men's football at that club back in 2000. It was really just a social sort of thing at that point in time. But, you know, I'm proud of my involvement at that point in time. But I've also played for the Hawks as well. And I understand the history of the Hawks, that they were a club that was set up to be a representative side for all of the Adelaide Hills. And one of the kids, if you like, in the family has usurped them. But I think maybe this is, and I think I said this, or I mentioned this before when Mount Barker had their first win over the Hawks, which was last year, I think, Alessio. And I think I mentioned that at that point in time that I felt that maybe this was a changing of the guard, if you like, and that Mount Barker, I think, are destined for big things. I don't know that they certainly haven't had a great run so far. They've been in the competition since 2016 and have failed to finish above second bottom. And there was a little bit of social media chat after it, which I was not a part of, but I was an observer of. And it was interesting to note, I think I felt a lot of the Mount Barker folk were maybe gloating a little bit, which I understand can happen if you have a big win over your closest rival. But the approach that some of them had was that they'd done the double over the Hawks, so they'd been the champions in the Hills Derby this year. And when someone had queried that and said, but you lost the first game 1-0, they said, but we're counting aggregate scores, aggregate goals. So over the two games, the home and away leg, Mount Barker have come out on top, because their reasoning was that Mount Barker had scored 3 goals over the 2 games, whereas the Hawks had just got 2, which prompted me to go back over some old tables, Alessio. And I look at the 2021 season, and I note here that Mount Barker scored 13 goals that year and conceded 110 goals. And I couldn't find any other club that had conceded more goals in one season. The goal difference at the end of that season was minus 97. So I guess you've kind of got to bear some of that sort of information in mind when you're kind of enjoying your moment, and maybe just bear in mind where you've come from. That was all I was going to say. But congratulations to Mount Barker. I think, as I say, there's a bit of a change of the guard up here in the Hills, and I think they're probably destined for big things. And it's I suppose it's difficult for me, having been involved with the Hawks as well, to see their decline, if you like, and I just don't know how they're going to come back out of their current situation. But well done, Alessio. Honestly, I'm pleased for you, and I'm pleased for Mount Barker.
Yeah, I think if they tried to do aggregates and did it over the all-time aggregates, I think we'd still be quite far behind. So it's just recency bias is what they say, and everyone likes a bit of recency bias. So.
Well, that's it for our picks of the week. We'll go on to our review of the past week, starting with State League 2. Heading into that one, Mount Barker, of course, with that 3-1 win over the Hills Hawks. Eastern losing 2-1 at home to Pontian Eagles. Modbury Vista 6-2 over Port Adelaide Pirates. Noarlunga at home losing out in that Southern Derby against Cove 3-2. Northern Demons beating Gawler 4-2 away from home in that Northern Derby. And Seaford Rangers 0-0 with Adelaide University. Mark, you watched this match.
I did. I ventured out the long drive from my house to the Seaford Rangers, which took about 3 minutes to watch the game. I was hoping to see what kind of form Adelaide Uni were in. We obviously know they've won 11 straight games, so which was obviously one of the longest streaks in the third division from round one. So massive congratulations to Adelaide Uni to be able to do that. So I went out there and had a look and thought I'll say hello to a few friends and whatnot. But I stayed out the way in the end because I wasn't well. But Seaford were good for their draw, but they probably had. I'm not gonna say there were clear-cut chances because there weren't a lot of clear-cut chances in the game. But of those chances, I think Seaford probably had the better ones. They did hit the post in the second half, but they certainly created a lot more of those half chances that were there. They just couldn't turn them into proper chances, and they had more of those than what Uni did. And to be honest, I was chatting with one of the Seaford players after the game, and he said they felt that they should have won that game. And to be honest, they weren't far wrong. Like Uni didn't do anything special, but they held Seaford at bay. Seaford, like I said, had a couple of half chances and one opportunity that hit the post. But overall, I think Seaford can hold their head up really high. They've held Adelaide Uni, who have been unstoppable so far. They've held them to a 0-0 draw. And I can see the work that Quarterbank is doing there and what he's trying to implement. I could see in the game was playing out. So the players are listening. The coaching style is taking effect, and I think Seaford will now, hopefully, if they can, take the confidence from that game and move that forward. They could actually have push on this second half of the season and hopefully have a really good back end of the season. But they did show that Uni are maybe not beatable, but can certainly hold them to draws, and eventually one team I think will manage to get a win over them. But it shows that there are chinks in the Adelaide armour.
David, any of those fixtures that caught your eye in particular in SL2?
The one that stood out for me, the one I could talk about a little bit about was the Cove's win at Noarlunga. And the Cove had been going through a little bit of a rocky period. They'd started off really well this season, had a bunch of wins and were up there near the top, had a few drop points. Let me just bring the little thing up here. Sorry about this. They had a couple of drop points in recent weeks. In fact, they'd lost the previous two. They lost 2-1 to Adelaide Uni, and then they'd lost 2-1 to Seaford. But this week, they managed to get themselves a 3-2 win over Noarlunga United, which has kept them in third. But I guess the thing for me there was that had they lost that game and stayed on 21 points, they'd have been down in fourth position. But they would have also been about 7 points adrift of the top two teams, and there would have been a bit of a gap. So that for me was quite a big result, quite a big win for Cove. I think it keeps them in touch. They're 4 points adrift of Pontian, but in second, but it keeps them in touch.
Alessio,
I just wanted to mention, well, aside from our game, I wanted to mention Pontian. So I'm sure a few of you know as well, the last few years that they've had Anthony Dimas, who scored 30 league goals back-to-back years. Well, I just looked at the stats of the young Jeremiah Kashindi, and he's already got 19 goals this season. That is including all competitions, so I think there's 1 or 2 goals in the cup there. But otherwise, 15 games played, 15 started, and 19 goals already. So he's proven a real threat there, and he's only 21 years old as well. And I just wonder what's in the water there at Pontian, getting those strikers who can just score that much every season. But they're going to be a dangerous thing to contend with this year. And if Uni have, they're actually not too far off Uni themselves as well. So if they can pick up some points and hope Uni gets some more draws, then they've definitely got the players that can fire him forward.
I think he got a hat trick in the 9-1 win against Mount Barker, if my memory serves me correctly.
I had to bring that one up.
He got 4.
Oh, did he? Yeah, in the 9-1 win against Mount Barker.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I advocate for players. I advocate for players either way. He's a young player doing really well, and he's got 7 goals in his last 3 games. So either way, he's putting himself in the shop window. That's for sure.
You're on mute, Seb.
Thank you. Northern Demons gaining back their form against Gawler Eagles. I don't know if we continue this, but past few weeks they've just tended to slip away slightly. But Mark, I guess we'll go to you on this one. Gaining a bit more form back with a 4-2 win over Gawler.
Yeah, look, Demons have been a little bit off lately in the league, just purely, I think, because of the fact that the Cup's probably taken over for them a little bit. And as you'd expect, they had a great run in the Cup. So it was, I think, coming up against Gawler at this time of the season for them was probably a good thing. It just allowed them to continue their win. They obviously won the week before, but there was 2 losses before that. So I think it just allowed them to settle. We know Gawler not being a good side this year. They're sitting 11th, and that clearly shows. I mean, they've had 5 losses on the trot that we know of. So we all picked Demons to win, and I was having a look at the match that had Leo Laffer on the score sheet as well, which is good for them because if they can get him into scoring form now, leading into the back half of the season, that will only bode well for Northern Demons to probably try and catch Mowbray Vista in 4th. But I think if Northern Demons can continue where they are, keeping that sort of 5th spot, then they'll cause teams trouble when it comes to finals time.
You're mute again.
What are you doing, Seb?
I don't know. I'm off it today, honestly.
You laugh at me for my technological incompetence. I know what the mute button does.
We'll move on to State League 1 with their results. Adelaide victory with a 2-1 win over Adelaide Blue Eagles. Playford going 2-0 down to Adelaide Monia Cobras at home. Sturt with a 1-0 win over Cumberland United. Fulham 3-2 against Western Strikers. West Torrens Burkalla 5-0 away to West Adelaide. And Vipers with a 3-2 win against Salisbury United in a game which had some absolute crackers of goals, I must say.
Yeah, there were some absolute beauties in that game. I think 2 of them made the goal of the week. Maybe 3 made 2 of them. Definitely 2 of them. Luongo made goal of the week. Yeah, so yeah, no, definitely some cracking goals in this game as we see some of the results here. The first one's certainly not going to make goal of the week, but Harrington, he's a good player. He was brilliant in the finals last year for Salisbury, and he's continuing that form. This is the Luongo goal that's, well,
in the front running.
I'll just let you guys enjoy watching that because it was just an outstanding goal. To pick that up off the volley is just outstanding, to keep it low under the bar. And then Vipers, I tell you what, we all had, I know I did, I picked them to be sort of towards the bottom of the table, if not a lot. Well, I think I had them close to bottom, second bottom. And there's the other goal for goal of the week. It's an outstanding finish from David Precker. I had them quite low, but you know what? They started off poorly, but now they didn't have any major incomings into the side this year that we know of, like no big names. And Majibrim outstandingly has turned them into an absolute force. He's got them playing football. They know the game plan. They're executing their game plan, and they're getting the results. They've been excellent the last few weeks or longer now, and really turned their season around. And to be honest, if they continue the form they're in and picking up results, then you could say they're going to make finals. But they've been, just a shout out to Madge on what he's done with those boys this year. They've been excellent. They've really turned their season around. So Salisbury, I think, probably feel a little bit hard done by. I mean, going 2-0 up. Again, Matthew Gaston's working wonders out there, but Vipers just snatching it at the end.
Who wants to go next?
Adelaide victory over Adelaide Blue Eagles, obviously a big result. Marko Bogdanovic scoring in the 92nd minute for Adelaide victory to get the win for them. Just refreshing my table. You brought replay up and everything. So so that's a game that has obviously Adelaide Blue Eagles were second before the match, but Playford also lost, which means with the top two teams losing, there's no change at the top, but obviously a week that both sides have lost a chance to get ahead, either stretch the lead, Playford to stretch the lead, or Adelaide Blue Eagles to go back into the lead. 88th minute, and so 1-1. Here's the 96th minute goal. Chips into the middle. And
it was actually Dylan D'Agostino who scored the winner, number 19.
Oh, was it?
I think that,
Yeah.
looks like he fixed it up, but yeah.
Yeah, Bogdanovic is credited in online, but either way, still some result for a victory, isn't it? And I guess I'll steal the thunder that on the Playford game as well, with Corbis winning that one 2-0. A 94th minute goal, but a 77th minute goal for Puddler was the opener, if you like, late in the game. Penalty here taken low and into the corner, well placed.
Very, very cool, calm and collected. The penalty taker there in Puddler. So that's been his penalty style for many a year.
Yeah, and then Andrew Pagnani, if the records are correct, yes, they are, scored what would have been the winner in the very end. Now, I didn't see this game, so I don't know if maybe Playford were pushing up the other end to try and get an equaliser, and maybe they were caught out at the back, not sure. But those two results, the top two teams losing in that division, obviously a bit of a surprise.
Mark, will go on to you for the rest, I guess.
I can do. I thought Alessio might want to talk about his favourite SL1 club in Fulham, so I'll leave that one for him to jump onto. But I'll jump onto the Big Halla West Adelaide game. Burke's massive win over West Adelaide 5-0. Didn't start too well for them with an own goal here. And then it just went downhill from there. Dorigo, Karatis, Scambitera and Ashworth all scoring to make it 5-0 with no reply. And I think that also, if I'm not mistaken, was Michael Brook's last game in charge of West Adelaide. I think he was I think he parted ways. Yeah, straight after that game he parted ways, or was announced Monday maybe. This was the free kick, which is very impressive.
As a celebration as well.
So yeah, after this game, the result not going West Adelaide's way, West Adelaide and Michael Brooks parted ways, and El Puddler's now going to take over the reins for the remainder of the season. And then what else we got? Sturt and Cumberland. Sturt taking the 1-0 win over Cumberland. Cumberland coming off a great result the week before against Blue Eagles, so I thought that they'd continue that form. But Sturt managing to come out with the winner, Samed Altentag scoring, I think around the 20th minute. He scored a nice little dink over the keeper here as he's put through. Great ball through. He's just got there in front of Matosevic in goal and he's managed to finish it. So great result there for Sturt. That's really helped them climb the table. I know they were bottom. They were bottom of the table after sort of 5 and 6 rounds, and they've now really started to turn their season around, getting some good results, getting some good wins, and they've now jumped up to 8th with that win on the weekend. West Adelaide scarily now dropping down to 10th. I think it's not many points. Where are we at? Points, yeah. 14 points, 2 points above Western Strikers and 4 points above Adelaide Victory. So that win for Victory really gives them hope now. So that's really a good thing for Victory, but it does draw the likes of Salisbury, who are on 14, West Adelaide 14 points, Western Strikers 12. So it really does tighten up those bottom 4 positions. So the next game for all those clubs is going to be a big one, which we'll talk about later. And I'll leave the Fulham game for Alessio. I know how much he loves Fulham outside of his Barker. So I'll let him go with that one.
Well, it was a bit of a comeback, and unfortunately it was some quite horrific defensive mistakes for all 3 of the goals that Western Strikers conceded after scoring a couple of screamers themselves here. This is the first one over the keeper's head from Kieran Carlton, and then Jacob Lavery scored after that. But I'm sure as he's highlights and some of them you could say are lowlights pan through. You can see the 3 goals that Western Strikers conceded, and really there's 2 of them are the exact same type of move where they're playing it to the centre back and he lets it run under his foot for an easy finish for the striker. But I think this is the first one under the foot. And then, so they came from 2-0 down, Fulham, and won at home again. A couple of players in the score sheet. Henry Philsell, youngster from City in the past, is the other one. It looks like it bounced right in front of the keeper at the near post. And then you see the last one is pretty identical to the first goal they conceded. And it's just, some more positive wins for Fulham, and they're going to keep them at the top of the table with obviously the top 2 losing, as you said. And I was actually at the Sturt Cumberland game as well. And I did unfortunately come right after they scored their first goal, Sturt. And there was nothing after that. But it didn't really look like it was a game full of chances either. I was there for like the whole game. Michael Moroney came off at halftime with a hamstring injury. And other than that, they really just shut up shop really and got a couple of youngsters on to run them ragged. And it was pretty much all that could be done. And I don't think I saw Terry Westwood after the game as well. He didn't really have anything specific to say either. So just one that got away from them, unfortunately.
That's all of State League 1. Next up, the WMPL and WSL Cup quarterfinals were on. First up, it was a 4-3 win the way of Adelaide Comets. Jenna McCormick scoring a hat-trick for Adelaide Uni, but it wasn't enough to get them through to the next round. A 3-1 win for Football SA NTC over Adelaide City. Sturt 1-0 winners over Salisbury Inter, who recently just got a few more players back. And West Adelaide cruising past Metro United 4-0 in that game. I suppose the big one is the Sturt result, you'd have to say.
I'll go with this one, David. Look, we all picked Salisbury Inter with the players that they've just brought back into the team or brought into the team. Sturt, not the best form in the league, but however, league form goes out the window when it comes to the cup. Complete cup set for Sturt. They managed to get the result, get the 1 goal, and they got it quite early. They got it in the 22nd minute, so quite early. And it's probably for them, it's a matter of just defensively shutting up shop, making sure they don't offer into any easy goals, any easy opportunities, and they've shut them down. So, like I said, huge win for Sturt. They're going to hope that can now kickstart their league form, and I'm pretty sure they'll look to hopefully use that and move forward and try and get up that table.
Just a quick comment on Adelaide Uni and Jenna McCormack as well. So, was it you I did the game with a couple of weeks ago, Seb?
Yes.
Jenna, yeah, and she in that game was outstanding, as I recall. She really made a difference to that Uni team, and their league form has been a bit mixed, but they seem to be turning a lift. I mean, they've lost this game obviously, but for her to score 3 goals, I think that's just probably emphasised the thoughts that we already had when we saw her a couple of weeks ago playing in that game against Salisbury Inter from memory. And she just looks class, doesn't she? She just sort of ran that midfield and just looked a cut above the rest. And hopefully that will some of that will rub off on her teammates because she's just a class above the rest, I think.
Of course, the cup draw is also today. Sturt will be facing Football SA NTC in about a month's time at Service FM Stadium, and then West Adelaide versus Adelaide Comets on that same day at Service FM, which looks to be a very, very interesting fixture in that semi-final. On to the results for round 12 of the men's NPL. South Adelaide with a 3-1 loss against Adelaide City. Croydon with a 2-1 win over Adelaide Croatia Raiders in Ian Fife's first game in charge. Para Hills Knights 2-0 winners over Modbury Jets in the derby. Campbelltown losing 4-2 to Adelaide United in that opening match of the season rematch. Metro 2-1 winners over FK Beograd, and Adelaide Olympic losing 2-0 the way of Adelaide Comets. And I mean, to be honest, guys, I didn't watch any games this past weekend, so you're going to have to tell me what happened. So who wants to go first?
Well, I'm trying to remember which games I went to. I think I was at South Adelaide and Adelaide City.
You were. You called that one with Benny Dale.
Yeah. So I can talk about that one, and I think I was at Metro Stars with Beograd, so I could probably talk about that one too. What can I talk about them? So the South Adelaide City game, we had a floodlight failure at half time. So the second half was delayed a bit. The first half actually was delayed while Adelaide City prepared themselves. We're all standing out there in the cold for quite a while before Adelaide City came out. Look, I felt South Adelaide were again a little bit unlucky. The 3-1 scoreline maybe doesn't quite cover the is a fair reflection on the play itself. Daniel Bresson scored there quite early on from memory. And then guess who scored an equaliser against the run of play? It's a long through ball, completely misjudged by the Adelaide City defender, and Jonathan Rideout's just tapped in there and knocked it to the far, well, I thought it was the far post from memory, but no. So that made it 1-0. South Adelaide went through a period of ascendancy after that, and they were probably the better of the two teams for quite a little while. But alas, it wasn't to be. This goal here, Moss couldn't hold it. It was a tap in from Matthew Dauber, who had a very unusual goal celebration. But I have seen him do that before. He must write into the show and let us know what that's all about. And then the winner, which I thought was an own goal at the time. I thought Taylor had knocked it in, but apparently not. And there's a kid there celebrating the number. Can't see the number in his shorts there just now. Turns out he's at school with my youngest daughter, who's in year 12 up here in the hills, at a school in the hills. And they were at a party that night, and he said, "Oh, your dad was commentating in my game." So there you go. Speaking of kids and parties, I got myself a drink from the fridge, thinking it was lemonade, but it's actually alcoholic lemonade. Unbeknown to me. So the other game I can talk about, is Metro Stars and FK Beograd. So this was quite a fiery little encounter. This one, Metro Stars obviously started off hot favourites, and the result has cemented their spot at the top of the table. They've overtaken Modbury Jets. Satira there with a cross to the back post, and Ren Nagamatsu, the league's top goal scorer, was poaching at the back there, unmarked, completely untracked and unmarked, and scored, put it away lovely, really nicely. And then what happened next? Oh yes, Beograd, did they pull one back? Aye, they did two off the inside of the post. That was Konstantopoulos. It was about, that goal happened about a minute after the first one as well, so it was an immediate reply, if you like. And then Hamish Gow ran to the far side. Now I couldn't see much in this. Jakobsen had brought Nagamatsu down and conceded a penalty for it, but at the time neither myself nor Antonis Pagonis, who was on comms with me, could really see much in the way of contact. So I don't know, maybe there was a shirt pull that we missed or whatever, but Nagamatsu put it away very convincingly. And then we had some red cards towards the end. The first one, I don't know if this is going to come up in the highlights reel, but Jakobsen was sent off. This long ball up to the back here. I don't know what happened here either. Couldn't see it. Player down on the ground, and it's a straight red. So there wasn't a lot of argument from the FK Beograd players, although the replay is making a bit of a liar of me there. But yeah, that was Jakobsen off. And then a couple of minutes after that, a little trip here by Zalpa. Saw him get his second yellow. So he'd been booked a few minutes earlier. So he came on with about 15 minutes to go, got himself a yellow after about 5 minutes on the park, and then got himself a second yellow. Just a bit petulant. Maybe he was trying to create an impression. You know, you come off the bench, you want to make a difference, but I'm sure that's not the difference that he wanted to make. And there we go. 96 minutes, finished 2-1 for Metro Stars. And that's your summary.
Who's next after that one?
Oh, I don't know if I could follow that. Alessio, you want to go or do you want me to go?
Oh, I was going to make you.
I was just going to say, I watched a bit of that Croydon versus who they play? They play
Raiders.
Raiders, yeah, I watched a bit of that. And again, it was Trimboli off the bench scored a goal. But I've been really impressed with Thomas Visser in the last few weeks for Croydon. He's a nippy little player, seems to get in behind a lot. And some of his finishes are quite accomplished for someone that young. This is his goal here. I remember him scoring one a couple of weeks ago at home as well, where he took it past the keeper and tapped it in. But yeah, he's quite a good player, the youngster. And I remember watching him a bit last year, and he played as a left fullback. So see him progress now, and I think he got the assist for this goal as well, if you can count it. But there's actually quite a few great saves from the keeper of Raiders, Vinny Barbaro, who's got their club man of the match 2 weeks in a row now. And even if they haven't been wins, to get man of the match as a keeper shows that he's been doing some things right. But yeah, after watching this game, it seems like Raiders are faltering a bit in the last few weeks. You can see they had quite a few chances in this game. But Croydon, after sacking their coach, or parting ways with him, as some people would say, Travis Dodd in the last few weeks, Ian Fife's got away with a big win against a top six candidate in Raiders. The other one was I don't know, what area is the Para Hills versus Modbury? What is that derby?
I would say Northern. It's Northern. It's Northern.
North.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one as well. Claiming the chocolates again is Para Hills. Probably at the start of the season, you wouldn't have expected either of these teams' positions, but even how you saw the first few rounds pan out, you would have thought that Modbury Jets are going to come away with this easily, leading the league for most of the season so far. But Para Hills just seem to be their bogey team, and unfortunately, that's not what you want in a derby. This one was quite interesting. This last goal, Connor runs over the back of Tim Henderson's heels, and the referee plays play on. I don't know how much I've seen them given specifically for like fouls, but obviously the referee saw nothing doing, and it's another big win for Para Hills, who apparently they've also lost a couple of their players to international friendlies as well. So to get that win under the circumstances is fantastic for them, and it's going to be interesting to see how Modbury Jets can bounce back, and they've got a big cup game in the coming weeks as well.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier for Modbury either, with 2 losses now, and they've got Adelaide United next, so that's going to be that could be an interesting one. I'll jump in with the Campbelltown Adelaide United game. So big win here for Adelaide United. This is the last game where they're able to play the likes of Panache Madanha, Jovanovic, Johnny Yule, Barnett. So and Ethan Cox as well, going from memory. So they're going to lose those players as of this week because they're due their 4-week mandatory break. So it might be a good time for Modbury to have them next week and be able to turn their form around. But United looked great for their win, to be honest. Some good goals, good team play as well. Campbelltown just off the boil a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back, because they've been in a little bit of inconsistent form lately. Great finish there from Jovanovic, great run. And that's what those players should be bringing to the NPL side. So I think they'll miss them moving forward for the next sort of 4 games at least. But Campbelltown, yeah, just in some real inconsistent form. And Marino, though, Campbelltown inconsistent, but Marino consistent goals. And I really like this second goal of his. I thought this should have been in goal of the week, Seb, just quietly. To be able to check his run and hook his left foot around that, and to beat Cox at the near post is a great finish. But it really did put a dent in sort of Campbelltown pushing high up the table, because that's now finished, kept them in 4th spot. But in saying that, there is only 3 points between them and Metro in first. So it's a real tight 4-way race at the top of the table at the moment.
It seems like as well on that pitch, Adelaide United really know how to play it against Campbelltown. I mean, I've seen a few games there now where I think David was with me when we watched Raiders play there, and the gaps out wide were just massive, and it seemed like Campbelltown were the only team that could dominate in those areas. But you saw that last goal there with Madonna taking both players on the left out of the game and got an easy cross into the far post. But in the last couple of games, I mean, they played that finals game there, scored another 4 against Campbelltown that day. So they really seem to be the team that you'd hope not to get your own home ground, which is rare to say.
Yeah, it's also the fact that Campbelltown pitch is big, so a lot of clubs do struggle to play there because it is so big. But Adelaide United will be one of the teams that enjoy that. They'd be used to a pitch like that size. I mean, High Marsh is quite a large pitch, and they'd be training. I dare say they would set up their training facility pitches to match Cooper Stadium. If they didn't, I'd be a bit surprised. But yeah, I'd say they're probably one of the best suited for the larger pitch.
I think as well in Front Page Football's article this week, Antonis and Christian said that 7 of those starting 11 players at Adelaide United will be missing for the next month. So I think that would be Cox, Panache, O'Neill, Barnett.
I named 5, so that's not bad effort.
Austin Ayubi, Yule, and maybe Taladera, something like that. So, yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see what they can do with these players coming up now from their reserve team who got their first loss of the season on the weekend as well, who were undefeated so far coming into this season, but they lost 3-2 on the weekend to Campbelltown.
The final game we haven't spoken about as of yet, the game between Adelaide Comets and Adelaide Olympic. I know who wants to go for this one, but probably an expected win against an Olympic side who have been in decent form. Right?
Yeah, look, this mirrored the first game of the season. I think Comets won that 2-0. So a pretty much carbon copy of that one. I think all they've done is just change colours, really. So Comets are now in white in this game, and Olympic are now in blue. And I think in the first game it was Olympic in white and Comets in their blue and black. So, but great finish from Mirabona there to seal it at 2-0. But that's a result I think we all picked Comets to win. Olympic, yes, have been in some relatively good form considering the start of the season. So they're starting to slowly. So they're not being they're being a little bit inconsistent, but on the better side of inconsistent, if that makes any sense. They're sort of picking up some results, and then they might lose a game, but then they'll get another result. So, but it's better than what they were doing at the start, where it was pretty much loss. So hopefully Olympic can get a result this week, but we'll just have to wait and see.
All the games reviewed will go on to our preview and predictions of all this week's coming games. I can think of it for a second there. We'll go through each one game at a time, and we'll see what we think. We might as well start with I think I know what all our predictions are going to be. Friday night, of course, no games except for one. The Matildas against China at Adelaide Oval. Who's going for a start?
Didn't get a ticket.
Didn't get tickets.
Get a ticket, no.
Oh yeah, go away, Seb.
Okay. So for those who will be watching it at home,
in the warmth, yep.
What are your predictions?
We should all head round to Seb's because he's not going to be there. It's just a friendly, so I guess with that in mind, it's maybe more of an exhibition match. I hope it's a great game. I hope there's lots of goals and lots of entertainment, and I hope that some of the 50 are going get themselves along to a couple of the local games after this. I think the Matildas will win just because it's a home crowd and because they're on a bit of a high. The Chinese side, maybe they'll get a goal. We saw them in Adelaide. Of course, they've been here more recently than the Matildas. They played in Adelaide in the World Cup last year. Yeah, and so I'm going to go for Matilda's win, and I'll go for 3-1. And incidentally, earlier on, I said this was Matilda's 8th game. I think I said it was the 9th game. They'd only played 8 games until this point, so this is their 9th game in Adelaide. But yes, so Matilda's win 3-1.
Oh, I'm just going to go for
a win.
Yeah,
yeah, as I expected. Thought we might as well mention it.
No, go for it.
On to State League 2, round 13. Starting, Gawler Eagles versus Seaford Rangers, of course. All of these games, I think, just let me double check, all being played on the Saturday at pretty much the same time, except for Pontian Eagles and Northern Demons, which has to be half an hour later for whatever reason they want. But all games at 3 p.m, Gawler Eagles versus Seaford.
Do you not know the reason behind the half an hour late kickoff, Seb? So Northern Demons, their games are always at 3:30 to allow travel time.
Yeah.
So
always
that's been
away games,
always half an hour later than if it's a 3 o'clock kickoff for every other team, it will always be a half hour later for travel time for either way.
The more you learn. Anyway, we've got to move on to that one.
Port Piry's also 15 minutes behind us.
Scorler Eagles versus Seaford. I'll go for Seaford on this one.
Yeah, I'm going for a Seaford win on this. I think if they can turn last week's form or the way they played last week, but just finish their chances this week, they'll be in for a good win. And I reckon they're going to get out 3-0.
I'd like to pick an upset based on Seaford. No, I'm not. I'm just going to play safe. I'm going to play tactical. I'm going to play safe. And it's going to be a Seaford win. 2-0.
Yeah, I reckon I'll give Seaford as well. That's really impressed me how they've done that against Adelaide Uni, and they're probably the nearest side to those bottom three at the moment. So I'm really hoping they don't get any points this weekend, but I do think that it will be fairly pedestrian against a team like Gawler. So I'll go with a 3-1 win for Seaford.
Port Adelaide at home to Eastern United. Tough one, judging on form, but I think I'll go for Eastern United 2-0.
Yeah, it's not an easy game to pick. Pirates coming off a big loss last week. I'm actually going to go for a 2-2 draw.
I'm going to go for an Eastern United win, but quite a tight game, 2-1. I'm going to have another sip of my daughter's alcoholic lemonade.
I'm going to go for a... They both pretty much got the same form in the last few. Obviously, Eastern beat Seaford, Demons, and Gawler in back-to-back weeks. So they're only one loss in their last 5. But, yeah, I would say Eastern 3-2.
Next up, Noarlunga United against the undefeated Adelaide University. I think I'll have to go with Uni on this one, 2-0.
Yeah, I think Adelaide Uni will bounce back from their draw. I did mention a while ago that I went to see Adelaide Uni playing against the Hawks one Saturday afternoon, and I wasn't blown away by them. So I guess the upset, maybe against Seaford, was a bit of a surprise. But I think the upsets, I think teams are capable of a win, but I don't think that'll be this week for Noarlunga. I think Adelaide Uni will win this one, 2-0.
Did you have a scoreline, Seb? I didn't hear if you have it.
2-0.
2-0 as well.
Yeah, Adelaide Uni, I think like you guys will bounce back from their bit of an upset in a draw. And I think, but in saying that, I think Noarlunga can score goals. I actually think Uni have been quite fortunate with that they haven't conceded as many as what like I said. I thought they gave Seaford a few too many half chances, and like I said, I think if it was against the Pontian side, I think Pontians would have taken those chances. Noarlunga have got a couple of players that are in good form in front of goal, so I'm actually going to give them. I'm actually going to say it's going to be a 3-1 win to Adelaide Uni. I think Noarlunga will score this week.
Yeah, I was going to be quite similar. I was going to say Uni 3-1 as well. Just over the last few games, I mean, Noarlunga have beaten all the teams around them, like Gawler, Hills Hawks, Pirates, and they've only lost 3-2 to Cove and 3-2 to Pontian. So they're the next two that are just above this Uni team, but I think they're going to be one shy of that result and lose 3-1 this weekend.
Next up, Adelaide Hills Hawks versus Modbury Vista at the Hawks Nest. I'll go for Modbury Vista 4-0.
Yeah, I'm there with you, Seb. A Modbury Vista win is on the cards, even at the Hawks Nest. I know it's always not a pleasant place to go for the away team, but unfortunately for the Hawks, they are struggling. So I was actually going to say Modbury Vista a 5-1 win.
I am also going to back Modbury Vista in this one. Can't see the Hawks winning this one at all. I take it, is it at? Oh, it's at the Hawks Nest up here.
Yeah, it is.
Won't make a difference. I think Modbury Vista will win this quite comfortably. 4-0.
Let's see, are you going to wish a 9-1 upon them as well?
Well, I mean, it looks like Vista are the only other team who can score 5+ goals at the moment in a few games. But I think they still leak a few goals, maybe Vista, but I don't think Uni's going to Hawks are going to contest that. So I'm just going to go Vista 4-0 as well.
Next up, Cove FC versus Mount Barker United. Alessio, normally when I back you, you win, which is why I'm not going to back you this week. I reckon it will be a 2-0 win for Cove.
Is this at Cove or is it at Barker?
At Cove.
At Cove.
Okay. Yeah, look. I went with you guys last week, Alessio. I backed you guys.
I did see that.
I think it's the first time I've backed you guys this year. However, not again this week.
Took an easy one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, come on. I'm actually going to go Cove, but I think it's going to be quite a tight affair. I actually think it's going to only be a 2-1 to Cove. I think Barker are going to run them tight, and I think Cove will just have enough to get over Barker. Just.
So I'm just looking at all the goal differences in the previous years here because that's what Mount Barker are sort of working off. 2019, they scored 23 goals, conceded 89, goal difference minus 66. 2020, scored 18 goals, conceded 89, goal difference of minus 71. But I'm going to pick Mount Barker for this one, Alessio, because I feel bad about mocking you all the time. So I'm actually going to pick a Mount Barker win here. And it's going to be 5-1. For Mount Barker.
So you really don't want to catch us in the tips then?
No, he doesn't. I can't. I don't think
even you agreed.
Can you look in your stats last time Mount Barker scored 5 goals in a game?
I'm looking at the stats trying to find the last time they scored 5 goals in a season, mate.
I can't remember us being in a game where we scored 5, but
Mount Barker are going to win this. They're going to. I'll change the score.
I know that
line.
they've.
I'll change it to 4-1. But Mount Barker.
I know they have. I know that Mount Barker maybe not have scored 5, but they've certainly conceded 5 in a game.
Might have been 9 actually.
Might have been 9. Yeah, you're right.
And I'm sorry I got that wrong about Kashinda only scoring a hat trick when actually he scored 4.
Alessio?
The basis of my prediction is actually on form and recency as well. Cove have lost 3 in their last 5 games, and I think all of them have come at home. 1. Oh no!
Yeah, go on.
So they've only beaten Adelaide Hills Hawks and no longer in their last 2, and I remember us beating them there last year away. So I'm going to go
for Mount Barker
3-2 Barker win. 3-2.
And how many of those are going to be penalties that you win?
Sorry, no. That he wins.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to do that.
I've never been booked for diving. Never been.
It's just because you're good at it. That's why.
Yeah. You've never been caught diving. I've never gone to jail for fraud.
Moving swiftly on to Pontian Eagles versus Northern Demons at Pontian. I think I'll go Northern. Actually, no, I'll go Pontian at home. I do tend to go Pontian at home, so I reckon a 3-1 win. Even though I know Omar watches this, so sorry, Omar.
Because it's at your Lumber Drive, it's at Pontian's ground. I'm actually going Pontians as well. If it was up in Port Pirie, I would have actually gone Northern Demons, but purely based on home ground advantage, and I know what Pontians offer going forward on that pitch. I'm going to go Pontians, and it's going to be 2-1.
I'm also going to go for a Pontians win, so they've won 4 in a row. They were going for 5 in a row, and if they want to keep in touch with Adelaide Uni, because only one team automatically goes up from memory, second is a playoff. Right. So so to guarantee automatic promotion, they'll want to win this league. So this is a game they'll need to win to keep in touch with Adelaide Uni. Pontian Eagles will win this 2-0.
I'm going to agree with Seb. Pontian 3-1. They've been on a great run of form at the moment. I think they've got 4 wins in a row. Compared to Northern Demons, who've had 3 losses in a row, but they've just got 2 wins against Gawler and Seaford in the last few weeks, only just. So I think they're going to take a bit to get that form back, and it's going to be tough to get against a Pontian side in form. And Kashindi to break the 20-goal mark this weekend.
In one game? Oh, no, he's not playing Barker. That's fine. Adelaide. We'll stop one day, Alessio. We'll stop. On to round 9 of the WSL, starting with a game which is actually firmly underway. Adelaide Jaguars versus Modbury Jets. This game kicked off at 7 p.m. So, they'd be halfway through the second half by now, I reckon, down at West Beach. But we have no clue of the score, so we're more than free to predict. I reckon I'll go a 2-all draw, I reckon. I reckon they're sitting at 2-1 at the moment, though.
Who's this? Jaguars and who? Sorry?
Modbury Jets.
Jaguars and Jets. I will. I'll go for a. I think I'll go for a. This game's been played right now, but I can't cheat. So what's Mark doing? He's distracting us while he looks at something on his screen.
Oh no, I was just looking at the actual fixtures.
Okay. I'm going to go for a. I'm going to go for a Jaguars win in this one. 2-0.
Yeah, look, I'm going to Jaguars win.
I'll go Jaguars win as well.
On to Saturday, South Adelaide versus Modbury Vista. I reckon, we'll start with, I guess, David's new best friend, Ben. How do you think he'll go on Saturday?
Football friend. I think, look, on paper, I think Modbury Vista are probably the favourites. But Vista have won the last 4 in a row, although one of those games was the Croydon game, but they did smack Jets 7-2 3 weeks ago as well. I really want to back Ben, but my head is telling me...
Well, you're not commentating with him this week, so...
so I could offend him, and then I'll go with
I was going to say, you can offend him and he might forget about it.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He won't. He can't. His father was Scottish, he was telling me the other week, which I hadn't realised. So they don't forget, and that DNA is passed down from generation to generation. So I can't imagine Ben will forget. No, I'll just I'll put the friendship aside for now, and I'll back Modbury Vista. Are we giving scores for this or just teams?
You can do if you want.
Oh well, I'll just go with a Modbury Vista win. I won't put a scoreline down because I don't want to offend him.
Mark, your old friend in Bendale.
He's still my friend. He's not old. I think I'm actually might be older than him. No, actually, I can't remember now.
No.
Anyway, I look on form. I've got to go Modbury Vista. As much as I want to see Bendale get the win, and they're capable of, I just think Modbury's form is probably just too good. So a Modbury win.
I'll go with a Vista win as well, just from the form as well that Mark's talking about as well.
Cove versus Campbelltown. Campbelltown, of course, in prime position, I think, to get promoted as it stands, and I think they'll get the 3 points this weekend as well.
Yeah, Campbelltown for me as well. Sorry, David, go on then.
No, you go.
Yeah, Campbelltown for me, by far and away, probably the best team in the league. And to be honest, at this stage, looking at going undefeated this year.
I'm already starting to really look forward to double headers at Steve Woodcock, by the way. I think that will be a very exciting prospect to have there. So hopefully.
Oh, could you imagine the Campbelltown Adelaide City double header? That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
That's me just predicting. That's just me predicting Adelaide City staying up this year, in the men's league.
To be fair, the women's too. The women's are, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, good point.
I think they will. On to the Sunday, Fulham United versus Elizabeth Grove. I'll go for Elizabeth Grove.
I don't think I backed a team there, but I'll pick Campbelltown.
I think that was a given, wasn't it?
Yep. Sorry, Seb.
What do we got next, Seb?
I've lost it now.
Elizabeth Grove, I think you said.
Elizabeth Grove versus
Fulham.
Fulham, yes.
I'll go Elizabeth Grove. I think Dorba out there will get the girls up ready for another win over Fulham, who haven't been in the best of form.
Yeah, I agree
with that.
Yep.
On to State League 1. Thursday night football.
Did we miss the game?
Did we?
We didn't do the Western Strikers Croydon game.
We can do it.
Strikers.
Oh, I was going to go Croydon. No,
Strikers.
Yeah, unfortunately for Croydon.
On to State League 1, West Torrens Burkalla versus Adelaide Victory. Thursday night football tomorrow night. I'll go for Adelaide Victory. 3-1. What's that laugh about? What's that laugh about?
Oh, it's I think you're right. I think Victory obviously had that shock win last week. They're still bottom of the table. They're 2 points adrift of the side above, and a further 2 points adrift of the two sides above that. And I'm thinking, can Victory win this? No, I'm gonna go with Burkalla.
I'm going Burkalla 3-1 at home against Victory. I know Victory had a good win last week, but Burkalla had a great win as well, scoring 5. So Burkalla at home for me.
I'm going Burkalla 3-0 with this one.
Okay. I look forward to proving you all wrong. On to the Saturday, West Adelaide versus Salisbury United at a new home. Once again at TK Shuttle Reserve this Saturday. I think Salisbury United will win. Choo-choo. Let's come back.
Oh, not the train again.
Chugga.
You and this train, Seb. Seriously, do you want either getting on or you're staying off? You keep chopping and changing.
I took a few weeks off taking the train, but I think it's
Was
time
that
for
why
my
you're in
journey to
Melbourne?
continue. Yeah, I couldn't catch the Salisbury train while in Melbourne.
Oh, jeez. I'm going
stick with a tram.
I'm going to go with the Salisbury win. I'm going to go 3-1 to Salisbury this week.
Well, be careful. This train's starting to fill up, David.
I'm going to go for West Adelaide. 2-0.
This is at Salisbury, right? Or no, it's at TK Shuttle, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess West Adelaide would be more used to the artificial than Salisbury, but I'm still going to go with the Salisbury win. I'm going to go 3-0.
Do you guys want to hear a joke I just thought of?
Oh God, here we go.
What's Salisbury United's most favourite result?
Most favourite result?
2-2.
Choo-choo.
I told you.
Anyway,
see that coming a mile away. Oh my God.
Onto.
And you're not even a dad. Jeez.
United's Johnny. Have you heard him? Western Strikers versus Vipers FC. I'll go for Vipers.
Yeah, I'm going for Vipers as well. Their current form has been excellent. Western Strikers coming off 2 losses. So yeah, I think, and like I said, Majid Ibrahim earlier, he's got them playing some really good football, and they're not dying, they're not giving up, they're sticking it out to the very last second of these games. So I'm going with the Vipers, and I'm going to go with a 3-1.
I'm also going to go with Vipers for the same reasons that Mark mentioned there. They're in a little bit of form, got 2 wins in a row. They had a loss and then 2 wins in a row before that, so they've got better form. 2-1.
Yeah, I was going to agree as well with the Vipers 2-1.
Adelaide Cobras versus Fulham United. Cobras not playing a late kickoff for once. It seems almost customary by this point for them to play at 7 p.m. on a Saturday night. But in the afternoon, I reckon... I was going to say Fulham, but I don't want to decide yet. So on to someone else.
I'm going to go for a draw in this match. It's going to be 2-2. Do you need me to fill in some more space while you guys have a think?
No, this is a really tough
David,
one.
how was your day?
Both coming off a
right,
good win. Gee whiz, I only got 3-3 draw. I'm sticking with the draw. With like you guys, I'm going 3-3 though.
I'm going to go a Fulham 3-2. I mean, both teams have really got some poor form in the last few weeks. I think they've both got the same amount of losses in the last 5. So I'm going to go Fulham 3-2 because I know Cobras can definitely score a few at home, but I think Fulham will be a bit ahead. So Fulham 3-2.
I reckon I'll go with Fulham 2-1 though. Cumberland United at home to Playford. It's tough. I think I'll go with Playford, but it'll be narrow. 2-1.
Is this at Cumberland, did you say, Seb?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh, this is not an easy game after last week. Playford obviously maybe not hitting their straps last week. Cumberland also taking a loss as well against Sturt. So it's not an easy one. I'm actually going to pick Playford to get back to winning ways, and they're going to win 2-1.
Playford on a little bit of a sugly nail, as we would say in the west of Scotland. Just now, they've only won one of the last 3, so they lost last week, won the game before that, and drew the game before that. So they are a little bit shaky just now. So if there is a time you want to play the top team, it's when they're a bit unpredictable and when they're on this shaky nail that they're on. I'm going to go for a draw in this one. Playford just to sort of continue their shaky form. Yeah, I'll go for a draw, and I'll give you a scoreline of 1-1.
I'm going to raise you that 1-1 with a 2-2 draw in this one.
You're on mute, Seb.
It's okay, it's fine. It's actually better.
Adelaide Blue Eagles versus Sturt Lions at Marden. I'll go for Blue Eagles in this one, 3-1.
I'll also go for Blue Eagles in this one, and coupled that with the draw that I just predicted for Playford City, that's a result that would put Blue Eagles back on top of the pile. So I think Blue Eagles will have that in their minds. They'll be thinking if Playford slip up again, we can go back on top. Having said that, I'm aware that Blue Eagles have lost the last 2 in a row, so they're on a sugly nail too. But I think they'll beat Sturt, and coupled with Playford's draw, they'll go top. So it'll be 2-1 to Adelaide Blue Eagles.
Yeah, I'm really, really torn on this game. As you said, David, they've got Blue Eagles 2 losses on the trot, Sturt with 2 wins on the trot. So the form team technically would be Sturt coming into this game. Actually, funny enough, Sturt have actually won more games in the last 5 than what Blue Eagles have. So, I mean, technically, Sturt would be the form team in this game. But Blue Eagles at home have been good for most of the year. Sturt don't score a lot of goals, which is, I think, going to be their downfall this weekend. So I'm actually going to go Blue Eagles 2-1. I'm really tempted to go for the draw, but I think Blue Eagles.
Well, I'll go for the draw. I'll put it out there. I thought Sturt did some good things, and Jacob Atkinson in the middle was fantastic as usual. And I remember them having some good results down there at Marden the last time they played there. So I'm going to go with a draw, and I'm going to put it at 2-2 as well.
State League 1 done. On to the WMPL Saturday and Sunday games, of course. Again, no customary as normal as it has been the Friday night kickoff Saturday and Sunday, starting with Adelaide Comets versus Adelaide Uni, a rematch of that cup game we just had. And I think Comets might come on top of this one a bit more comfortably. 2-0 for me.
I'm going to go an upset. I'm going to go with Uni on this. They scored 3 goals in the cup. Obviously, they didn't get the win, but I think they're going to take a lot of positives out of it, and I'm going to go with the Uni 1-0.
I think if young Jenna McCormack, I say young, she feels like she's been around for years, but I reckon if young Jenna McCormack has a form night, she'll get a goal, maybe even 2 goals. but I think Comets will be too good. I think they'll get the win here, so I'm going to pick Comets, but I think it might be quite close. I think it might be 3-2. Plenty of goals.
I'll probably give it to Comets as well. They've had good form in the last few as well. I think they're going to get the win here.
Next up, quite interesting game between West Torrens Berkala and Adelaide City. Berkala, of course, now having two former Adelaide City players in Dylan Holmes and Izzy Hodgson, and also seem to be on the rise, West Torrens Berkala in the WMPL, whereas Adelaide City towards the bottom, but they do have Chelsea Dorber back. I think
I'll go for Berkala winning this.
Yeah, I think I'll go 2-2 draw.
I'm going to Berkala win as well. I'm with you, Alessio.
Berkala have actually lost their last two, so they lost to Flinders 3-2. Flinders sitting in fourth, one spot below them, and they also lost to Comets, who are sitting just above them in second. But I think Berkala, those results have been against two sides in the top, obviously four. So I think Berkala, now that they're facing an Adelaide City side that's down in eighth, I think they'll come good, and I think West Torrens Berkala will win this 3-0.
Final game for the Saturday, Metro United versus Flinders United at TK Shutter Reserve. I think a Flinders United win is on the cards for me here. And can I just say, what a story they've been as well this season.
They've been excellent this season. Like I said, I think they were close to getting relegated last year. And
went down to the final day.
Yeah, Joel Porter's done amazing things with them this year. They've got this never say die attitude. They don't give up at all, and we've seen that in their results where they're scoring late winners or very late equalizers. So this weekend, though, I'm going to Flinders. A Flinders win.
I'll go with the Flinders win as well. I think they're going to carry this good form and get some more interesting results, and I reckon they'll definitely make finals this year.
Yep, I'm going to go for Flinders win as well. There's a kid in that team who's also at school with my daughter, and who I've watched go through the junior grassroots football from Handorf all the way through the Hawks and the Flinders, Julie Dowling. So really pleased to see her in that team. But I'm thinking that Flinders United will win this one as well. I nearly call them Flinders Uni. Flinders United will win this one, and I'll give a scoreline of 3-1.
We've got Alessio's cousins and your daughter's teammates now, David.
I will see. My daughters have always been better players than I ever was, so they've got contemporaries that play at this level.
On to Sunday, 12 p.m. my game. One of my games for the weekend, my only women's game for the weekend. West Adelaide versus Salisbury into a 12 p.m. kickoff at Service FM Stadium, a part of a double header. I think West Adelaide will come out on top here, 3-2. Hopefully, I get plenty of goals in this one.
I'm going with a West Adelaide win. As much as Salisbury have got a few new players in, West Adelaide just a really good side. The form's not too dissimilar. Both won 4 of their last 5, but I still think West Adelaide will get up and take the 3 points.
I think West Adelaide as well. You're dead right, Mark. The form is very similar. They've both had 1 loss in their last 5, but Salisbury's wins, their 4 wins, have come against sides in the bottom half of the table, whereas West Adelaide's wins have come against sides at the top. And West Adelaide's loss, their 1 loss in the last 5, was against second place Comets, which was 4 or 5 weeks ago. So the form is very similar, but I think it's maybe a bit misleading, and I think West Adelaide will win this fairly comfortably. I'm going to go for a 4-0.
I'll go with the West Adelaide win. I saw a bit of their highlights against Sturt, and they just look like a class above. So I'm going to go with a West Adelaide win. You're on mute again.
He's on mute again. Just leave it. Just let him go.
This is really bad, honestly. I can't.
Next time we're just gonna leave him.
See how long. Yeah.
To the audience, if there's a prolonged silence, it's because Seb's on mute and none of us have told him.
Football SA NTC versus Sturt Lions. I'm going to back a draw here, 1-1. He's on mute too.
I thought we were waiting.
He's on mute too.
Ah, that's because I had to go let my daughter in. I had to let her in the house. So I'm going an NTC win on that one.
I'll go with the NTC win as well.
Yeah, I'll go for an NTC win. Grayson Blishke, who played junior football with my daughter, played for NTC, and Rose Elston. Rose Elston playing, who played soccer with my daughter, playing for Sturt up against each other. But NTC too good for Sturt this week, and it'll be 2-0.
On to the men's NPL for this weekend. Modbury Jets versus Adelaide United. What looks like to be a depleted Adelaide United at Smith Partners Stadium. I reckon Modbury will come out winners here 2-0.
I missed the game. What game was it, Seb?
Modbury Jets
United
versus Adelaide.
Modbury Jets and Adelaide United. Okay. Modbury Jets have just lost 2 in a row, haven't they? They lost to Para Hills Knights, and prior to that, they lost to Campbelltown. But before that, they were top of the table and singing a bright little tune, weren't they? So they've just had this little dip in form. Meanwhile, Adelaide United are coming off a 4-2 win at Campbelltown. Campbelltown are no mugs. They're fourth. I'm going to go for an Adelaide United. Oh, but they're going to be missing players, aren't they? That's what you were talking about. Jeez, I wish I was on mute. I'm going to go for a Modbury Jets win in a very narrow match. It'll just be 1-0 Modbury Jets.
I'm going to go on Modbury Jets win here. I think it's going to Adelaide United. I think will suffer just a little bit without those players. And Modbury will really want to turn their form around with 2 losses. So I'm actually going to go with Modbury 4-0 or 4-1, sorry, and a Skimizzi hat trick if he plays.
Yeah, I was going to go Modbury 3-0 win, and I was going to say Hamish McCabe double.
Next up, Campbelltown versus Croydon at Steve Woodcock Sports Centre. I'll go with Campbelltown on this one. 3-2.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. They both really had some up and down form, very inconsistent, both sides. I mean, you look at Campbelltown, 2 wins in 5, 2 draws in 5. Croydon, exactly the same, 2 wins and 2 draws in 5, both with the loss. So it really inconsistent from both sides. But at home, I'll go with Campbelltown. Just a 2-1 win for Campbelltown.
I think you're right, Mark. I think this is really hard to predict because they're so unpredictable. So I can't pick them apart. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in a classic.
Is a 2-2 draw a classic?
It can be.
Do you think it can? Fair enough.
If all 4 goals are scored in extra time or in injury time, that's a classic.
Yeah.
So it'll be nothing each with 2 minutes to go and finish 2-0. Sorry, Alessio, on you go.
I was going to go 4-2 Campbelltown. I think that's more of a classic game. A lot of goals, not good for the defenders and keepers, but yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good goal fest. They've got quite a good few scorers. Andre Carr hasn't scored in a couple now as well, so I'm sure he's going to bounce back with a couple.
Should say that game will have Connie on it as lead comms, and then next to my game where I will be with Antonis Pagonis at Adelaide, Croatia versus Metro Stars at the Croatian Sports Centre. An interesting one. I think I picked a good game, by the way. Just saying. It's tough to pick because I don't want to do it yet. So I'm going to make someone else go first once again.
No, so I'll jump on this one to start with. It is a tough game to pick, Seb. I think you're right there. Neither team are in great form. Very inconsistent. Again, it seems a lot of the teams just inconsistent. Metro Stars 2 wins in the last 5, 2 draws in the last 5. Raiders 1 win in the last 5 and 3 losses. So they're on the sort of poorer side of form. But It's not an easy one. Look, I am going to go with Metro Stars, and it's going to be a really tight affair, and it's only going to be, I think, a 2-1 win to Metro.
So I commentated on the Metro Stars game on the weekend just gone against FK Beograd, and Metro Stars were they were maybe the better of the two sides, but when you look at where FK Beograd are, I think they're 9th now. I think they were 7th before that game started. From memory, they started the day in 7th. It was a later kickoff, and by the time their kickoff had come in at 5 o'clock, the 3 o'clock games had been complete, and Beograd had dropped to 9th, which is where they're still sitting. So Metro Stars weren't far superior than Beograd. So I'm actually going to pick a little bit of an upset here, and I'm going to say that Croatia Raiders pick up a win in this one. It'll be a tight match. It'll just be 2-1 or 1-0 or something. 1-0. There you go.
I feel like a lot of.
What did you say? Oh,
1-0.
Did you say it once, Seb, or not?
No, I was about to. I feel like a lot of games that I've been to commentated at the Croatian Sports Centre have ended 3-2 from memory. So I would back another 3-2 because from memory I can think of, or at least the derby. The derby ended 3-2. There was another one earlier in the season. I can't remember what it was. I'm pretty sure that was 3-2 as well. So I'll back a Croatia 3-2 win with a red card put in there just for a bit of spice.
I'll go with. I'm going to say a 2-2 draw in this one. I think both the teams can easily score 2 goals in every game, but it seems like defensively they might concede a couple in the last few minutes. So I'm going to go for a 2-2.
FK Beograd versus Adelaide Olympic at One Solution Park. I'll go with FK Beograd on this one. I think 2-1 though.
I'll back Beograd in this one. Again, watched them at the weekend against Metro Stars, and they were maybe a little bit unlucky not to get something out of that game. Quite a late goal, a few cards in that game, and I think maybe it became quite an emotional night for them, and maybe the discipline went a little bit, but I think they had some harsh decisions go against them, so I think they'll try and bounce back from that. They'll be missing Jakobsen, I presume, because he got his red card, so he'll be suspended, but I think Beograd will win this one, but only by a goal as well, so maybe 2-1.
Yeah, I'm with you, David, on this. I think it'll be a Beograd win as well. And it will be a tight game. I'll go 3-2 just to change the score a little bit. But yeah, it'll be tight affair. But for me, FK Beograd to get up 3-2.
I'm going to continue the theme with threes, and I'm going to go 3-1 to Beograd. I think they're going to be a class above Adelaide Olympic, but I think they'll get a goal. Olympic they seem to always get one.
Next up, Adelaide City versus Para Hills Knights at Adelaide City Park. David, I'll let you go first because for this one, at the time being, it looks like you're riding solo on comms.
I am, yes. I'm in negotiations with Mr. Mark Talbot as to whether he maybe joins me or we maybe shuffle games around last minute. But I'm happy to have a go solo. I think I can do it. No bother. But yeah, at this stage, that's the game I've picked. And I think my thinking behind that as well is that we've got games covered at 3, games at 7. So why cover more games at the same time concurrently? Why not have the commentary teams all doing consecutive matches and then we're covering more of the time, if that makes sense. Plus, I'm darting down to do the evening game with Johnny, so it's a quick dash over to Service FM after the game's finished, as opposed to waiting around for 2 hours. Sorry, I'm havering. So we're looking at Adelaide City at Para Hills Knights. I'm actually going to back. Para Hills Knights had a big win last week, of course, didn't they? Because they beat Modbury Jets, so they'll be coming into this all that complacent way, thinking, "Oh, we've got this," because we're playing Adelaide City, who are 10th. But Adelaide City played quite well. They've had 2 wins. They did okay against South Adelaide. So I'm going to back it. I'm going to go with Adelaide City, just a bit of an upset, so they continue their momentum and continue their climb out of that relegation zone. They're currently the third bottom team, so they're currently out of it, but they're looking to consolidate that. So it'll be an Adelaide City win, 2-0.
I'm going to go a draw. I'll keep it simple. Adelaide City off 2 wins, Para Hills off 2 wins as well. But I just think Adelaide City are finding some form at the right time, maybe. And I think they're full of confidence. Yes, Para Hills are as well, but Adelaide City at home now in some form. I think there might be a different beast. So I'm going to go with that. I think it's just be enough for them to. I think it would just be enough for them to make it difficult for Para Hills, who are obviously flying a lot better than Adelaide City. So I'm going to go 3-3 draw. After all that,
I'll go 3-0 Para Hills.
I've noticed a theme in these last few predictions that Seb's team is obviously Para Hills as well. So just thought I'd let you guys know that he's going to pick them.
Excuse me? I have no affiliation.
I was listening.
Just to clarify.
He does like them, though. He plays
go...
for an amateur version of Para Hills, so...
Yeah, I'm going to go Adelaide City 2-1. It's going to be quite a tough contest as well, but I really think that they really turned a corner now, and Para Hills might... I think they faced them last time while we were there, and it was 5-0. So I think they're a little bit far off, but I think
City Knights.
Going to get back to, yeah, was it 4?
Yeah, it was
3-2.
You and I did that game, Alessio, and Seb was on boundary.
And I was on the sideline. Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking of Metro versus Para.
Yeah.
Actually, as much as we're talking about Adelaide City's good form, they've had 2 wins in a row, but both those wins have been against Adelaide Olympic second bottom and South Adelaide who are bottom. So. And the game before that, of course, was the Metro Stars 2-2 draw. So they have won their last 2, but their last 2 wins were against the 2 bottom sides. Might want to consider that, Alessio, as you finalise your selections here.
I'm still going to go with 2-1 City.
And finally, for the men's MPL, Adelaide Comets versus South Adelaide at Service FM Stadium. Johnny and David, the 2 on that one. I'll go for an Adelaide Comets win, though, 4-1.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think the game against Adelaide City last week for South Melbourne, and I said this in commentary, was the one that South Adelaide needed. Sorry, South Adelaide.
South Melbourne.
Yeah, sorry.
I watched them last week.
Yeah. I think the game for South Adelaide last week against Adelaide City was the one they needed to win for me to stay up. And I know we're only halfway through the year, and I know I shouldn't write sides off, but it's hard to see South Adelaide coming back from that now. They're 6 points adrift at the bottom, sitting in 12th. They're actually they're 8 points adrift of safety if it's the bottom 2 that go down from memory. So I think it's done for South Adelaide, and I think Comets will win this comfortably. I think South Adelaide's the heads go down, and they looked like a side that was really suffering last week. Unfortunately, it was sad to see. But look, I hope they get a win, but I don't think they will. I think Adelaide Comets will win this, and quite easily, say 3-0.
Yeah, look, as much as I'd like to see Souths turn their season around and get a win up against the Comet side coming off a good win, who I've only lost 2 games all season. I find it quite, I just can't see it happening, unfortunately, for Souths, as much as I do want to see them get the result. I mean, they're coming up against Comets, who have the best defence in the league, only conceded 9 goals all year. I still think JJ will probably get one, but I think Comets are going to come out 4-1 winners.
Yeah, I actually got talking to Alex Rideout today during the week as well. We were just having a chat about Cove and a couple of players that they had transferred there, South Adelaide, and I think they're still trying to work with what they have in their squad, and they just haven't really found the right formula so far. And even in that last game I watched against City, that was a very winnable game for them. questionable goal from Dorber being offside, and then Alex JJ Rideout missing a volley after the keeper came out for it. So I think they're really in games, but I think against a team like Comets, it's not somebody that's even close to their level at the moment. And I think Comets easy with the 3-0 win as well.
Yeah, to be honest, South Adelaide were a bit unlucky not to get something out of that. I think the scoreline did. I know I'm repeating what we've already passed, but I really felt for them because I thought they played all right, and they did miss some chances that could have really made a difference to the game early on. But yeah, I feel for them, but I just feel the season's kind of over for them now. Sorry,
no, you're right there, David. They've actually, you look at the games that they throughout their whole season so far, and a lot of their games have only lost by a goal.
Yeah,
they've had something go against them. A decision, one simple decision has affected the game almost to a degree. I mean, you look at the Raiders game, they lost 4-3, and some of those decisions were questionable, but Moss got taken out. Dorber's goal, there's a hint of offside. So there's little things, and that's what happens when you're at the bottom of the table. Those little things like that go against you, whereas when you're top of the table or on a bit of form, they go for you. So it's amazing how that works in football. It's not kind, unfortunately, but you're right. Like, they're not out of games. It's just like, I still think the LA City game, probably that 3-1, probably flattered LA City just a little bit, but they're not out of games. It's just sometimes that rub of the green is just not going their way at the moment on some decisions, or they miss an opportunity and then they'll concede straight after. So I do feel for them. Like I said, I hope they can get a result. But again, we all agree that I think Comets are probably just it's not the right time to be playing Comets this week for them.
That's all the men's NPL. And finally, for this week, of course, is the big qualifying final between Modbury Jets and Adelaide Olympic. We'll predict the Campbelltown Comets one next week. But this week, it's Modbury Jets versus Adelaide Olympic. I can confirm the commentary team for this one. I'm not sure if you actually know, to be honest. So this might be the first time you're hearing this. For Modbury Jets Adelaide Olympic, it'll be Alessio and Mark with Johnny Keko on the sidelines.
Oh.
So
nice.
Hope you guys looking forward to that. I mean, I'll be there too. But I guess predictions for me, I reckon Modbury will go through.
When is this game?
5th
Next Wednesday,
of June, 7:30.
Okay.
Get your tickets now as well on the Football SA website.
That means no podcast next week.
It'll have to be. It'll probably be delayed for the next 2 weeks.
We're going to have to pick a day and let everyone know what day we're doing it.
Oh God, we'll do it right before. We'll do it at the ground.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so what game is it? Modbury and who?
Modbury versus Adelaide Olympic.
Jeez. Okay, look. Look, if you're going on league form, you'd have to pick Modbury, obviously. But you know what? I'm going to go in my heart, go a cup set because I can, and I'm going to go for an Adelaide Olympic win.
Draw.
I'm not doing a David special. But no, I'm going to go a cup set. I think Olympic have been really good in the cup. Yes, they had demons, but you can only beat what's in front of you. So I'm going to go my heart on this one. My head says Modbury, but you know what? It's like I said, it's the cup. I hope for upsets. So
you want a good game. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly right. I want a good game. I want a good advertising campaign for the game. You know, like it's great for the league as well. So yeah, I'll go Olympic.
Any scoreline or distance that it will go?
Look, you know what? I love a good penalty shootout. So let's go to penalties, mate. I'll say. Have you done a 2-2 penalties? What was that?
Have you done a penalty shootout in comms before?
Not in. Jeez, mate, I've slept since the last time there was a cup game with penalties that I was on, dude.
No, I mean in general. I mean even like in NPL.
I've played in them. I've played in them, but I couldn't tell you if I've commed one.
I've social media'd from the bench from 2.
Social media from the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
He was doing the Twitter for Sturt.
And I had him on Instagram Live as well. So
there you go. I couldn't tell you if I've commed a penalty shooter. I can't remember. Like I said, mate, I'm getting old, Seb. I've slept since those games, mate.
David, on to you.
I'll go. Look, I think if you're going to play Modbury Jets, this is the time to do it. They've had 2 league losses in a row, so they're on a bit of a shaky nail, sugary nail.
They still before this though.
Yeah, that's right. But I think I've predicted Adelaide United to win that game as well. I think I've predicted nothing but misery for Modbury Jets over this weekend.
In your future.
Yeah, but I think, and the cup game's another one of these environments where anything can happen. But I think Modbury Jets on paper should be too good for an Adelaide Olympic that have arguably had a slightly easier run in the cup to this point. So I think that 6-1 loss that Adelaide Olympic suffered at the hands of Adelaide City kind of made me doubt them a little bit as well. So I'm going to go for a Modbury Jets win, but it might go to 120 minutes, but not penalties. It'll be 120 minutes, but not penalties. 2-1.
I'm going to go Modbury Jets in normal time, and I'm going to go 3-1. I think they're just too good at the moment. And I've got the video if you guys want to see the last penalty shootout I saw.
Oh, I remember that game actually, I think.
Is that at South?
It's at Metro, actually. That was that one.
Yeah, I remember. I think I watched that game on broadcast.
Yeah.
Did you have a prediction already, Seb, or I missed it?
I said Modbury 2-0. I didn't say a scoreline, but I said Modbury. Yeah, normal time.
Yeah.
Well, that's all our predictions for the week done, and that's pretty much us done. Anything else to add from any of us? I do have one thing, but I'll let anyone else go first.
I'll go with the usual. We have our sponsor, goalkeeper sponsor in TJ Gloves, proud sponsor of our Goalkeeper of the Year award. So shout out to Tassie, Braden, and TJ Gloves, who also obviously look after quite a few NPL, State League 2, State League 1, WNPL, WSL goalkeepers, along with obviously the man selected in the Australian squad in Joe Gauchi. So shout out to Tassie. If you do need gloves, please seek him out or come to me and I will point you in the right direction. And also, obviously, we are still looking for anyone willing to sponsor the show. So if anyone is out there willing to sponsor our podcast, please reach out to me and we'll go from there. Premier
League quality gloves, you could say now.
That's very much the case. They are good. I used to use them when I did play. So they're the only gloves I was wearing for the back end of my career. So great gloves, easy to deal with. Basically you purchase them here in Adelaide and you get them pretty quickly because he keeps all his stock here in Adelaide. So you can get them the day of a game if needs be. Wouldn't recommend it because I do prefer you to wash them and do what's needed. But thank you for the sponsorship, Tassie and TJ Gloves.
Even if you're not a goalkeeper, it's the middle of winter. The mornings are cold.
Well, he does have a winter version to keep your hands warm. So
nice. Maybe I'll get myself a pair.
I might know someone. I might know someone else.
Does he do normal gloves, or is it only goalie gloves?
No, just goalie gloves. Just goalie gloves.
So I've been thinking again as my want to do, and you know how I've got Euro fever, so I've got the Germany flag behind me, not because I'm necessarily supporting Germany, but I'll be supporting them after Scotland get knocked out after the first week.
That's not very hopeful of your beloved home nation.
But until then, I'm on the Germany bandwagon, so I'm very excited about this, and some friends have got tickets going, and I'm kind of feeling a wee bit homesick because of that. But I've had a thought. Now, Australia, when the Asian competition wasn't for them, applied to join the Asian competition, the Asian qualifiers, the Asian Cup, the Asian qualifiers for World Cup, and so on. And they were successful in that. And then the next step, of course, that happened was we applied to join the Eurovision Song Contest, and were successfully admitted to that. So Australia is now part of the Eurovision Song Contest. So I'm thinking the next logical step is to get ourselves into the European qualifiers for the 2028 competition. So I've started a petition. I've just raised up to the camera there. I've only got one signature so far. It's my mum's. But I'm going to take that round, and I'm going to get as many signatures as I can in my campaign to have Australia competing in the Euros 2028. That's my final thought for the night.
Is this alongside our Asian qualifying, or are we leaving Asia as well now?
No, we can play in both because we've already got into there. So now we've got into the Eurovision Song Contest. The next logical step is to get into the Euros, and then the world's our oyster. But that's the next logical step. I've got one signature. I need another. How many more would I need? I don't know.
At least another 4.
At least. Yeah, at least.
I'll see if I can get 4 more, and then I'll submit it to the UEFA authorities in Zurich. I'll hand it in personally, maybe in my next trip over there.
Anything from you, Alessio?
Not that I know of. I mean, I saw something on TikTok today. The new longest ever away day is in Russia. So one of the teams in Russia got relegated to the second division, and they lie all the way on the most west side of the Russian continent. And I think it's in between 2 countries actually where they occupy this land. And the next furthest away is all the way on the east coast of Russia. And I think it was a 3-hour plane ride from the country, the city right on the west, and then another 8-hour flight all the way to play that team as well. So, and they compared it to a team in the UK playing a team out of China. So that's how far away they are. I think it's even further than the Perth vs Auckland derby now, which will happen next season. I think it's about 7,000 kilometres. So yeah.
Well, my final thing for the week, of course, last week we had a bit of spare time. We predicted some other football matches going around the world. There was the championship playoff final. Congratulations to Southampton, the women's Champions League final.
I think we all picked Leeds on that, didn't we?
I think we did, yeah. I think we all picked Leon for the women's Champions League final.
Yep,
I think I picked victory for the A-League final.
That
it was played on Sunday.
The women's Champions League. Oh, I missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barcelona won. And
so I got that wrong as well.
Pateos came on and scored the winner.
Pretty much straight after she came on. There was the A-League final. I'm trying to think of the other ones we did.
It
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The Scottish Cup final, that was one. There was only one.
There was only one. We also did the FA Cup too.
Yeah, we don't care. The Albanian Superiore Championship final between Partizani and Ignatia, the one we were all waiting for. And I think from memory, we looked back at the form, and one of them were favourites in this.
Yeah, it was. Partizani hadn't beaten them all year, and I went Partizani, who are in red, obviously because I like my favourite colour is red. But Ignacio were undefeated against Partizani all season.
Yeah.
Now, David, you've got to translate the commentary for us.
He's just said the 2 teams have went and come out on the pitch and they've lined up in front of the massive crowd.
So this is a 10-minute highlight.
Why is there no crowd on the far side? They're all behind goals.
There is a crowd.
They're all behind the goal. It's quite empty considering it's a final.
Well, this is an 8 minutes. This is an 8 minutes highlight package. So we will just show the goal, which did eventually come the way of Ignatia. Whenever it comes, I think. Well, hang on. Wait. Hang on. That's not right. Am I showing you the wrong game? Is this the wrong game?
I don't know.
Don't tell the audience that.
No, I think this is from 5 months ago. Okay, let's ignore. That's the wrong highlights.
Finish 1-0.
It did, but that was a highlights video from 5 months ago. So give me.
Just talk amongst yourselves for a bit.
Yeah, pad for time. Just quickly.
Alessio, will you sign my petition to have Australia enter the Euros in 2028? Alessio, can I count your signature?
I think so. Yes, you can.
Okay, good. All right,
I'll make things more difficult.
You might struggle to
make
spell
things
your
more
name.
difficult with all my family now having an Italian representative, a German representative, and now an Australian one. But I'm sure we could pick one of those teams now.
Mark, you on board with my campaign to have Australia?
Oh, mate, I'm on board. I'll help you, mate. Change.org is the petition site. You jump on that one, and mate, then we can send it worldwide.
Excellent. Excellent. Was that enough time for you, Seb?
Yep, you'll be pleased to know I found the actual highlights from the game that happened a couple of days ago. That one showed Partizani going up 1-0. But this goal from Mele... Yeah, exactly. As you can see, the crowd go wild behind the goal. Mele Ibrahimoglu getting what was the winner in the end for Ignatia to win them the Albanian the Categoria Superiore Championship final between those two. It wasn't a bad goal either, must say. It was a good strike in the end. I'm not sure if this necessarily qualifies them for... I'd assume it qualifies them for at least Conference League or something like that. I'm not
We'll have to
quite
keep an
sure
eye
how
on that. Find out. We'll update our listeners next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was...
I was
listening to you guys talk about this last year. Is this team, that Partizani team, are they sister club to the FK Partizan in Serbia?
Well, I have no idea, mate. I just like the name and they're playing red. Seriously, we didn't know anything about it until Seb told us it was being played.
Because that's the team I thought you guys were talking about, and that's the team that, if you know Drago's football academy, they used to go there and do some clinics in Serbia, and that was his team, Partizan. I think they've played in the Europa League.
I think that was Partizan Belgrade.
Yeah, FK Partizan, yeah.
Yeah, Partizan Belgrade are a different side to this lot.
They were maybe the sister clubs, but
yeah. We didn't do much research other than pretty much.
No. We just.
But anyway, that's how it ended. I'll find out how they go in Europe. I'll keep track of them. I'll add them as my favorite team on FootMob now. So I'll keep track of all their upcoming fixtures and all that. But I think other than that, I think that's pretty much it from us for this week. Unless there's any more cup finals from around the world to add.
There's a men's Champions League final. When's
that? There is that too.
Tomorrow morning, Wednesday night.
The Conference League finals tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you know? I couldn't even tell you who's in that. I can tell you who's playing the South Australian semi-finals.
Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund.
I could tell you who's playing in the Albanian Cup final. I could tell you that, but not the men's Champions League final. We might as well predict that. Real Madrid or Dortmund.
I don't even follow it.
Yeah, me neither.
For me, I'd love to see Dortmund win it because Marco Reus, I'd love him to win it. It's his last game. In saying that, Tony Cruz, his last game for Real Madrid.
But Tony Cruz has won it enough.
He's won it 5 times. So I kind of want Dortmund to win.
Yeah. Heart Dortmund. I think my head goes Dortmund as well because my heart is a part of my head.
I'll go for Borussia Dortmund as well. Hey, do you want to know a fact? Do you know what Borussia means? As in Borussia Dortmund and Borussia Mönchengladbach and all of them?
Yes, please.
Does anyone know what Borussia is? Relates to Prussia. Prussia.
When I was younger, I used to think it like Borussia was the place, so I used to think it was like a big derby between Dortmund and Gladbach, but it's not.
No, it relates to Prussia.
There's the Conference League final as well.
Fiorentina our friend Antonis. Antonis will be out tomorrow morning. I was going to say he must be pumped. Olympiacos Fiorentina.
And if Fiorentina win,
in Athens as well, isn't it?
At their rival stadium, as I've come to learn from Antonis.
Yeah.
Italy will have 9 teams in Europe if Fiorentina win. 5 in the Champions League, 3 in the Europa, and 2 in the conference. I think. No, 1 in the conference. Yeah.
Mental. Well, I think that's all from us from this week. Thank you, lads, so much for joining me once again. Join us throughout the weekend for more football, and we'll see you next week, hopefully.